Perfect. Okay, everyone's here. We've got all the time zones, I believe. Hopefully, I've counted that right. We'll get started now. It's 2 o'clock Eastern time. Okay, I think you should be able to see my screen here. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking about tackling T4s because we know that undoubtedly this is a source of stress this time of year, unfortunately, but we believe it doesn't need to be. The reason we wanted to have this webinar is to help make you feel more confident that you can complete your T4s quickly and accurately. And so what we'll show you is we'll go through the agenda in a minute, but we're going to take you through the T4 process before running your T4s as well as submitting them. And we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end. Feel free to leave your questions in the chat as we go, so you can ask a question as you have it. We'll address as many as we can afterwards. But if you have anything that might be particular to your specific company about your employees, things like that, we are happy to help. But we'd ask that you might reach out to our support team, and then Christine and I can help you outside of this. So anything general about maybe deadlines, general T4 questions, or things that you want us to clarify about what we talk about, please leave it in the chat and we'll address it. For those of us that have been here, or at least been with Payment Evolution for at least a year, you might remember last year we sent out a video saying that you could do your T4s in under 10 minutes. I think it was actually under 7 because I think the video was just 7 minutes long. That was not clickbait. We do believe that you can do it in under 10 minutes. And although this session is going to be about 20 minutes or 20 to 30, including the questions, we hope that we'll give you some of the best practices and some additional knowledge that can enable you to actually do it as quickly and as efficiently as possible, so that you can go back to doing what you do best, and that year-end does not need to be a big deal. It's just something that you do and we get on with. So let's start with actually introducing ourselves. My name is Warren. I'm the supervisor of our customer success team here, and I'm a self-proclaimed professional problem solver. With me, I have Christine, who you can also see here. She's part of our customer support team as a PCP. She's one of our PCPs and has over a decade of payroll and T4 experience. So please know that you are in good hands with Christine. She'll be the one that takes us through the demo. I'll be sharing my screen, and we'll actually go through some of the preparation and running the T4s live for you here in the next 20 minutes or so. We had a couple questions so far. Yes, that video is still available. I believe it's either on our YouTube or Vimeo. It's also on our help desk, which maybe I can share a link in the chat afterwards. That I'll just make a note for myself to the T4 help article. Hopefully everyone else can hear us. I think there's at least one issue. Okay. I think we'll proceed from here. Okay. Number one, we'll talk about before running your T4s. So there's a few best practices that we recommend that you do actually before running your T4s, and doing them ahead of time will help you save time down the road. They aren't required. You will review your YTD one way or another. We'll show you an advanced or a more, I guess, in detail way of doing it. It's not required that you do it, but it is recommended, especially if you have a more complex payroll. So we'll show you that. We'll, of course, show you how to run your T4s, including how to add a box. So let's say you need to add a box 40 amount, a box 32, or any additional T4 box that you'd like to add. We'll show you how to do that. How to add additional slips for maybe employees that don't exist in Payment Evolution that you still need to issue a T4 for. And lastly, resetting your T4. So let's say you just want to restart during the process and just pull in some new information. We'll show you that as well. And then we'll finish with showing you the 3 submission options, along with clarifying some of the CRA changes this year along digital submissions and submitting by mail. So, and we should have about 10 minutes or so for questions. We'll go through as many as we can. I can see we've got a couple, so I'll make sure to scroll back when we go back through them. But with that, we'll go through running the T4s, or at least running our YTD information. All right, Christine, can you tell us, can you help me go through some of the YTD reports?
Yes, perfect. If you've already been running your payroll in 2024, you're going to have to go into your settings and change your year back to 2023 so we can get that year-to-date and year-to-date summary and journal. So go to your payroll options, so settings, payroll options, and then payroll year, and change that to 2023. You'll want to remember to change this back to 2024 later. From here, we're going to go to your reports, yearly, and year-to-date journal. Your year-to-date journal is going to show you what has actually been run in payroll. So each pay run you do exactly shows up in this journal. So you're going to want to click on create a new report, and then after that you can click on the PDF. You'll open this information screen and it will show you all the details for each employee, including their address or whether or not one is missing. So you'll want to keep that in mind while you go through all of these. And the report is depending on size of how many employees you have. So you'll want to review that report. And once you've done that, you can go ahead to the next report, which would be the year-to-date summary. So back to reports, year-to-date summary, create new report, and review the PDF again. Almost always your journal and your summary will match. The year-to-date summary will show, if it doesn't match, it will show here that there may have been manual changes. You could have started partway through the year and added some year-to-date information. You could have run a payroll out. You could have done something outside of payroll and updated the employees' year-to-date screens. So that's what's going to show on your year-to-date summary. So you want to know before your T4 process whether or not these amounts or these documents match.
Mm-hmm. And just to clarify again, for those that may have missed it, the difference between the summary and journal is the summary is a snapshot of the employee's YTD, whereas the journal is a collective of every pay run you processed during the year with a cumulative total at the end. So as Christine mentioned, they should match, but there are times where they may come out of sync because of manual changes to the employee's YTD. You joined us halfway through the year and imported some of that information or didn't. So the journal is only what you process through Payment Evolution. The summary is everything that's in their year-to-date information. And I think there was a question of where to find the settings. Settings is in the bottom left corner. I think I was kind of zoomed out when I did that. Bottom left corner here. Okay. Christine, where to next?
Once you're happy with those reports, we can go to the year-end process. So you can go to actions on the left and then year-end. Your year-to-date summary also is shown here. If you've already reviewed it, you don't have to do it again here, but for the sake of the webinar, we will. Each employee shows on one line, so you can just tab across or scroll across, use those toolbars and review that. Once you're happy with the report or you've reviewed everything, you can click on the continue button here. And now we're ready to generate the T4s.
And actually, just before I'll pause here, just to clarify, because I know we've shown two ways of reviewing your YTD. This is kind of goes back to what I'd mentioned at the beginning, where with the reports of the YTD summary and YTD journal that we just ran, that is something that we definitely recommend if you have a more complex payroll. Like let's say you have benefits and deductions and additional earnings. If you are adding that to your payroll, definitely going to recommend using those because it'll show an expanded view of the employee's year to date. The review YTD option right here is just going to show the basics, like kind of like just the regular earnings, taxes, things like that. So if you have a smaller number of employees or you don't have many custom rules or none at all, just doing the one that's on the year-to-date dashboard is totally fine. You could ultimately choose just to do this, but we definitely recommend it to do the reports if you have more rules. And if you want to make changes, this can be done either on the T4 grid, which we'll show you, or you can do it in the employee's profile, which maybe at the end we can go back and show as well.
This is what you'll see as the system is populating your T4s. The length of time will depend on how many employees you have. So the T4s are generated, and we can go ahead to the next screen. This is a new box this year, box 45. It is the federal dental benefit that was created for families earning less than $90,000 a year that may need dental benefits for children under the age of 12. This is not what the employee has, but what your company provides to the employee. So if you provide no benefits, you would select the first or top option. And if you have family dental, or if you have single benefits, then you would select these two options. There are two more other options, 4 and 5. If you are in of those categories are for your company, then you would manually fill those in the grid.
And the reason we ask, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
The reason we ask, I think that's what you're about to get to, Christine, there, but the reason we ask you at this step is to help you with pre-filling it, because if you have a tons of employees, last thing you want to do is manually select the box or the code for each employee, and even if it'll probably be the same one for each same code for each employee. We ask this option so that we pre-fill it for all your employees, so that for those that differ, the 1 or 2 or maybe 3 that may have a different code, you can make those changes yourself, because it's just only 3 of them, which is a lot easier than having to manually fill in the same code for everyone if that's the case. So this is the option that's ideally supposed to make it easier for you.
Perfect. Thanks, Warren. From here, this is your T4 grid. It's going to show you up here in the left-hand corner that you have 4 accepted slips, and it looks like there's 1 that has some work that needs to be done. So you can find it on the grid by going across the line, or you can just click on the Fix Here option at the top of your screen. Then it just brings up the slip that you need to correct, and you can go ahead and pre-fill these or fill in these blank information boxes. You don't have to go back to the employee profile if you have an address that's missing. It can be changed here. And once it's all filled in, it will ask you if you want to update that in the employee profile, which is nice. So once that's all corrected, your address is now updated in both the T4 grid and the employee profile. Your acceptance has gone to 5 and your failed has gone to 0. And here you can, this is also where you can add a box. If you scroll over to the far right-hand side, click on the ellipses at the top, and you can add a box or change a box. If you already went back into the employee's profile and changed the address there and you're wondering why it's not populated in the grid, it's because those T4s have already been generated, and so you have to reset all T4s in order for it to populate here now. You may not want to do that if you've made a bunch of manual changes because it resets everything. But if you want to go ahead and add a box, you can select the box number if you know it, or you can type in by name. That box now appears on the T4 grid for all employees, and you can click on the line that you want to update or change and fill it in. You don't have to complete each employee, just the ones that apply, and it saves as you go. Perfect. If we go ahead.
Yeah, so just on resetting the T4s, this pulls in the information from their year-to-date and from their profile once again. So as Christine mentioned, if you do anything from the grid, or if you've made any changes here, the way I've added this box 32, if I reset the T4s, that's gone. That might be what you want. Sometimes resetting is good, especially I know a lot of people will accidentally generate the T4s early before they run the final payroll. You'll want to reset it in order to pull in the most up-to-date information, including their address. So kind of like with the computer, if it's not working, turn it off and on again. If your T4s, if they look wrong when you open them up again for whatever reason, and you didn't get the little animation that we had when you generated it, reset first. Is usually going to be that first option when something looks wrong.
Perfect. Do we want to go ahead and add a T4? If, for example, you joined Payment Evolution mid-year and some of your employees from the previous provider didn't come over to Payment Evolution, but you want to do only one T4, you can add that information in the T4 here and it won't create an employee profile. To do that, we're going to click where it says all employee T4s. Go into the employee individual view. And on the ellipses on the right-hand side, we can add a T4. As you fill in the required boxes here, it will update your year-to-date summary with these new amounts as well. And don't forget to add that box 45 or the slip would fail. Perfect. Once you're happy with that, you would click save, and now it is a part of the rest of the T4s. You want to go back to the grid to see all employees. The employee that you just added will be on the top. You can review the information here again to make sure what you added is correct. And once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and approve all 6 slips. On this screen, this is our T4 summary that we're going to complete. If you want to know whether or not the proprietor SIN needs to be added, you can click on the tooltip here and it will help give you a reason or when you need to apply that social insurance number here. The other information is populated from your company profile with the name and phone number. The total deductions is what is pulled now from the year-to-date screen from that T4 grid. So it includes, as I mentioned, all of the updates that have been made. Your total received by CRA, you are going to want to log into your CRA business account and find that amount there. This amount will usually match, of course, the remittances sent into the CRA. And if they don't, you can contact support and we'd be happy to help you find out why it may not match. It can be out by a few pennies that due to rounding when you're dealing with numbers and math. Rounding can be a problem, and as long as that's under $2 or over $2, it is not information that you need to worry about. CRA is not going to collect, and it's not something that they're going to refund either. And then from here, we can click on the next field and decide which option we want to use for submitting those T4s to the CRA. We recommend the automatic submission. This goes directly from Payment Evolution to the CRA, and within about 24 hours, you get a notification that your T4s are now complete. The other option is online. From that, you can download the XML file and upload that directly into your CRA My Business account. You would get a confirmation there once that's uploaded, which you would then put back into the next screen here, and then it would show that your T4 process was complete as well. And if you have less than 5 employees, you can still do the manual submission, which means you print the PDFs and send them in the mail directly. CRA is no longer accepting this type of return for companies that have more than 5 employees. If you send that in anyways, it has to be postmarked by the last day of the month. And if more than 5, CRA may not accept them and could cause penalties and interest for having them late or having to refile or pick a different option at that time. So, of course, like I mentioned, we recommend the automatic submission. It is secure and the fastest way to get your T4s to the CRA. But then there's the online option you can choose as well. So continue from there. When you select your option, read the terms, sign the form on screen, and authorize that to be sent to CRA. Send that file. It automatically has now posted these to the employees' pay checkers as well. So the employees can log in there. You can click on the download button from this screen and get both the employee and employer copies, which you should keep track of for 6 years. The employer copy is the government, which is the same as the government copy. It shows the employer payroll number, and it also includes the payroll summary.
Okay, I think we are good. Let's see here. Thank you, Christine.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty much does it for the demo portion and most of what we had today, but I just wanted to do a quick recap of what we've covered, and then we'll go into a lot of the questions that we've seen. So number one, preparation is key. We strongly recommend doing a YTD review ahead of time. This is going to the YTD journal, the YTD summary, as we showed you. Or if you have something that's a more basic payroll, you don't use custom rules, then the YTD review on the year-end checklist is completely fine as well. If you notice anything that's wrong, or if you're sending this off to your bookkeeper or accountant or whoever handles the finance side of your business, if they notice that anything is wrong and should be updated, this can be done right on the T4 grid, or it can be done in the employee's profile before you generate them. Or if you've already generated and you do it in the employee's profile, as we mentioned, be sure to reset so that those changes take effect on the grid. So reviewing your YTD to make sure that the information is correct to the best of your ability is going to be critical to making sure that you can do it in as short a time as possible. Dental benefit codes, this is new for this year. We've tried to make it as straightforward as possible, allowing you to select the option that applies to the majority of your employees. We know that there's always going to be variances from some employees who weren't eligible as of the end of the year, because it is, again, as Christine said, it's about eligibility as of December 31st, not necessarily what they had, but what they are eligible for based on what you offer. So you will be forced to choose an option, so there's no worries about missing to not entering it. Just be sure it's just about making sure you're choosing the right option. Manual entries. You can create new slips. You can add boxes. You can reallocate the amounts. So in the example here, I entered in box 32, but let's say I meant to click box 33. there's no need to completely change the process. You can simply choose the change box function, which we didn't show you, but it was there in the options, to just reallocate those custom amounts into a new box number. And lastly, choosing the right submission method for you. We have all three that are available for you. The only thing that we'd say there's a restriction on is if you have a company with more than 5 employees, CRA will reject your manual submission. So if in the past, and we know that many of our clients have submitted by mail, they've printed off the PDFs and sent them. This may not be an option for you this year if you have more than 5, or won't be an option for you if you have more than 5 employees. So do use one of the digital submissions, either online or ideally the auto submission service, so that you don't even have to worry about it. Once you've reviewed and clicked through the steps, you're all set. It's already on PayChecker for you. But that is all for us. Thank you for listening so far, and now we'll try to we'll go through the questions. I know there's been a lot there, so I'll do my best to scroll back here, and I'll ask it aloud, and then Christine and I will kind of take turns addressing those. So let's see here. So please keep in mind, if you do have any specific questions, yes, we are happy to help, but it's best to reach out to the support. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, we got lots or a lot of chatter, which is great. Am I able to do manual submission as our external accounting firm does the actual T4 submission? Yeah, I guess it depends on how the accounting firm would do it. So ultimately, if you're submitting yourself, technically you could choose either option. The reason we'd say make sure to choose the option that you're actually doing, whether it's online or manual, is because that's what will be reflected in your account. So when you complete your T4s, if you choose online submission, it'll say that you submitted them online as of this date, and it'll ask you for a confirmation number. So if your accounting firm does your submission for you, that's totally fine. See what they need. Now, if you have a company of more than 5 employees, then they won't be submitting with the PDFs because they won't be allowed to do that either. But if they're going to be submitting with like online with your CRA account, then you're free to choose the online submission, download the XML, get that over to them, and then they can submit it on your behalf if that's what you'd like to do. The cost of automatic submission. So I think it showed briefly on screen, but we didn't mention it. It is at the moment it is $20 per submission. And the important thing to remember here, it is not per slip. It is per T4 submission. So when you submit the T4s, it gets sent as one package. So whether you have 5 slips or 100 slips, it's the same cost to submit it that one time because we can include everything together in that file. Now, when it can cost additional is when you amend a slip. So if you resubmit an amendment, that is another submission, even if whether there's 1 or 5 employees on that. So you're just paying per submission. Each time you use the auto submission service, it's the $20 fee. And the same goes for automatic submission of T4As and RL1s as well, as we do all 3. Christine, you can answer this one. Once submitted, T4s will go. Will the T4s go to the employees via email?
No, they will be in the employee PayChecker, so they'll get an email, yes, saying that their tax slips are available to view in their PayChecker account.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yes, so they'll get notified that it's there, but they are to access at their self-service portal on PayChecker.
That's right.
And how to file T4As from Payment Evolution. So basically, it's the same process as what you've just seen, except there won't be quite as much. So on my account, you didn't really see there's a T4A option. So let me just go back to the year-end checklist here. So if you have T4As or RL1s because you have employees that work in Quebec, you will see the option to generate those slips here. So if you only see T4s, then that tells you only need to complete the T4s. But if you see T4As as well, that would tell you that you have contractors that were paid in 2023 and therefore need to issue T4As. Now, the process is exactly the same as you just saw. You're still going to have the option to add a box. You can still add a manual slip as long as there's one that already exists for another employee. So if you have some contractors that you haven't added, you can add them right in the T4As the way we showed you. You can reset them to pull in new up-to-date information from their employee profile, and very similar with the RL1s. Except the process for the summary is a little bit different. But we do have all our guides online, which I believe we sent out in the past, but maybe what I can try to do is I can link them in the chat here so that you all have access. But it is at help.paymentevolution.com. If you just look for T4, T4A, or RL1, we have a full guide, at least a video on the T4s for the video that I mentioned earlier in this session. That will walk you through how to do it, similar to how we've done today, in a bit more of a condensed format.
So there seems to be a lot of questions on the dental boxes. So we can go over that portion again if needed. So the dental benefit was created for the federal government. So it doesn't, and now they want to know who qualified and who didn't. So for example, if your company has a person working for them and they offered benefits to the employees, what we want to know is the highest benefit that you provided. So if you provided family benefits to your employees, but you have single people as well working, or that only use single benefits, or individuals that don't have children at all, that part doesn't matter. What they want to know is what benefits did you offer to your employees on December 31st. It doesn't matter if they had kids or didn't have kids, or spouses or not spouses, but what did your company provide to the employees? So for example, if you didn't provide any benefits, then you're going to choose the option 1 or code 1 that says that they were not eligible on December 31st. If you offered family benefits, then the highest level you would provide would have been our code 3, which is that you provide family benefits to your employees. And that doesn't mean that they took them, but they were provided. So I hopefully that answers some of the questions about the dental box there.
Okay, we've got another one here. Christina, I think you're going to be better suited for this one than myself. Why is the amount on box 14 different from the total earnings on YTD? So maybe I can pull up a comparison here. So why is the amount in box 14 different from total earnings in YTD?
That could be your taxable benefits. There's many reasons why your amounts could be different. You can have earnings that are insurable or not insurable, so that would depend as well on what was calculated in the boxes for that box.
Okay, I think I've got another one for you, Christine. Can we just put 0 for sins or zeros for the sin if we don't have it? So if I guess either if the situation doesn't apply or if they don't have a valid sin to put in, maybe I can see if I can get back to that screen.
Yeah, if you don't have the current sin, the recommendation from CRA is to enter zeros. However, later down the road, I have seen where CRA comes back and fines companies for that. So you should make every attempt to get the actual sin. And if you don't have it, keep all your records of trying to get that sin. If it's for the sole proprietor sin here, you can leave that blank. It will be accepted by CRA.
Okay, so I think this goes back to the dental box, but we can be specific because I'd imagine a few may have this question. So if we offer a dental benefit to the employee and they don't want it, so maybe they don't take advantage of it, they're not enlisted in the plan, what would be the code for that?
It would still be the highest level of benefits that you provide, whether it be family or single. Doesn't matter if they don't take it, but what does your company provide?
Mhm. Okay, perfect. And I think it's just been all the articles there, but just been posted. I know there's a lot more questions. We are coming to the time that we've scheduled for today. Again, please reach out, Christine. Christine and I'm sure you've probably spoken to us before if you've ever been in touch with our support team. And we're happy to help us and the rest of the team. So please reach out with any specific questions. I thought there's a lot of great questions in there that might be particular to your company, and it'll be best if we know exactly who where you're contacting us from and your situation, which we can do so through support. So our support email is support@paymentevolution.com. If you reach out to us there and just with your question, one of us or someone else from the team will be able to assist you as quickly as we can. And we've just posted the link as well. Thank you, Sam. But that's all for us for today. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. There will be a recording available, and we've directed you to the resources there. Yeah, if we haven't answered your question, I hope to hear from you in support, and we look forward to speaking with you then. Have a good one, everyone.